Now, as Valentine's Day comes to a close, people, yes, it is getting, I'm not going to say it's getting late, at least not for everybody, but it's getting late for me. It is currently 8:02 p.m. Yes, people, I am showing my age without telling my age, and I'm not saying like I'm old or anything. I just feel old. Usually I'm in bed by this time trying to find some audio commentary or some type of podcast to listen to either in headphones or the background so I can fall asleep. But that's neither here nor there. We're not here to talk about me and my old ass bones and old man Rivers tendencies. What we got to talk about, there's a conversation we have to have, people, because Valentine's Day is coming to a close, believe it or not. And I feel like this is another one of those episodes that was long overdue, but since love is in the air, and let's keep it a bean. Sex is definitely going to be in the air today. We're all adults here. At least I hope and pray these are adults listening to the show. This is not for this is not for anybody who is the age that they should not be having sex. But then again, it's like, what? I feel like me and a lot of the other people that I know lost their virginities like around some really different and strange ages. But that's just my opinion to call it strange, people. Either way, I say all that to say this. Let me not get sidetracked here. With Valentine's Day will come a lot of love, will come a lot of emotions, will come a lot of cuffing, will come a lot of spooning, will come a lot of forking. You know what I'm saying? And that spooning will turn into forking or sporking, whatever y'all want to call it. But either way, that forking is going to be a part of it, man, if your Valentine's Day goes pretty well. Now, with all the spooning and forking and sporking business I'm talking about here, now, of course, in real life, this can go without consequences more times than a few, if you're lucky. But now we all know, to keep it a bean, like I always have to, in horror movies, not so much. Spooning, forking, sporking, whatever the hell you plan on doing with your partner, whether it's your man, your woman, whatever the case may be, it's not going to go well in horror movies for you. If you fucking, you're dying. I feel like Morgan Freeman should, he should narrate that, when he says either you get busy talking or you get busy dying or whatever it is he says. Morgan Freeman should definitely narrate the intro for this and just say, where you get busy fucking and you get busy dying or whatever the hell he's going to say in the intro. It would be nice. I'm just wishful thinking. I know Morgan Freeman is never going to listen to this podcast. Just let me live my dream, people. But however, we know that in horror movies, man, like my man Randy, Jamie Kennedy says in the original Scream movie, sex equals death. And before we jump into this particular topic, people, now the topic, of course, will be the cock block moments in horror movie history, people. Because yes, what's a horror movie without sex? And then what goes hand in hand in that? What's a horror movie without sex turning into death? Now, whether it's during the sexual venture, whether it's after the sexual venture, doesn't matter, man. You have to have that in a horror movie. There has to be a cock block moment in a good slasher movie, man. I mean, even in bad slasher movies, we've got plenty of them. And some of those bad slasher movie references will be referenced in tonight's episode. But before we get into the cock block moments that ended terribly for everybody involved, right? Let's really do let's pay a little bit of tribute to what Randy said in that original Scream movie. Actually, speaking of Scream, you guys can check out all my commentaries for the first 4 Scream movies and check out my spoiler review for Scream 5, aka Scream 2022. But let me not get sidetracked here. Let's do a little sex equals death intro here. Now, what I want to do is, since I'm talking about the people in horror movies that had sex or, attempted to have sex, some type of sex, and just got murked the fuck off, let's do some honorable mentions of the characters who actually had sex and survived. Yes, people, there are horror movie characters who got it in, either got their cherry popped, or whatever, or otherwise, they just had sex and they just survived, miraculously survived. Sidney Prescott, people, let's not forget, while she is one of America's favorite final girls of all time, shout out to Nev Campbell, Sidney Prescott had sex. Not, didn't get killed, but had sex with one of the 2 serial killers in that original movie. Never died. She's still kicking. Spoiler alert. She does not die in the new Scream movie, which will make a lot of people happy, which will make a lot of people upset. Now, another person, a part of a franchise very similar, had some similar, people attached to the project that Scream had. Now, the second person that also has sex in a horror movie and did not die faced no consequences whatsoever, other than needing a crazy ass therapy bill. Julie James and Ray Bronson from I Know What You Did Last Summer and I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. They survived both films together. Now, the first time that they had sex, I think they took each other's virginity on the beach sequence, and he's like, nobody gets me the way you do, and she's like, I understand your pain, and then she starts, taking off her little shawl or her jacket, whatever the hell it is, and they don't really show it, but we know that they have sex on that beach. They take each other's virginities, and neither one of them die. So big shouts out to them. Well, I was about to call her Angela Love Hewitt. What is her name? Jennifer Love Hewitt and Freddie Prinze Jr. Big shout out to them. Also, Jenny from Friday the 13th Part 2, Amy Steele, had sex with her boyfriend Paul in that cabin. Now, we did not see it. We kind of there's a shot of them, hot and heavy, smooching it up, and Crazy Ralph gets strangled outside her cabin. But we know the relationship Jenny and Paul had. They were already having sex. You could clearly tell between like how they interact with each other. They was already fucking. But she gets her boot smoked off screen. We don't see it, and she gets that sign that says "Beware of the Bears" the next morning. And you could tell she had a good night. But she's one of them. Alice Johnson from Nightmare on Elm Street 4 and 5. She was having sex with Dan in the opening sequence, in the opening title sequence in Nightmare on Elm Street 5. And, she ends up having the dream child, her son Jacob. But Alice is somebody who, Freddy movies aren't necessarily like your standard slasher, so I can understand why they didn't go by that rule in the Freddy movies. If you have sex, you die, even though Tina in the first one does have sex and gets killed. But Alice Johnson definitely lives. And last but not least, my last reference for the people that, didn't live by the sex equals death type of thing. Nick Castle and Elizabeth Solly. Now, if those names don't ring bells, people, they were played by Tom Atkins and Jamie Lee Curtis in The Fog 1980. Was it 1980 or 1981? Let's say 1980 for the sake of argument. Hopefully I'm right. But he literally picks up Elizabeth, Jamie Lee Curtis, on the side of the road, and she's like, "Are you weird?" And he's like, "Yes, I am weird." And they're sharing a beer. And this is how much of a fucking pimp Tom Atkins is, because they're sitting there looking at her artwork, and they're talking. They just finished fucking, and he's like, "Can I ask you something?" She's like, "Sure." He's like, "What's your name?" So y'all just bumped uglies and slapped stomachs, and just now are learning each other's names. Like, god damn, it's crazy, man. But those are a couple examples, people, of when characters in horror movies got extremely lucky, man, because given the circumstances that were surrounding these characters and the circumstances that the other characters were put in that were killed off, these motherfuckers made it out like bandits. Now, these other characters, not so much. I think we've got about 10 examples here, so I will not keep you guys too long for this episode, or at least I will try not to. Y'all know I get a little long-winded at times. I'm going to try not to, even though it's a subject that I, not entirely love talking about. I hate cock block moments in general because I've had a bunch of those moments happen to me. But sex is always a great topic. I feel like I don't talk about it enough on the Tudor Reviews podcast. Well, maybe we'll, for the freakazoid listeners out there, maybe we'll get some more, content on there. I feel like I need like a unofficial female co-host for that type of shit. But people, number one on the cock block moments in horror movie history, we have to get these out the way, people. My number one, and these are in no particular order, I just wrote them down how they came to me. Sam and Spitz in Halloween 5. Now, Samantha's played by Tamara Glenn. Spitz is played by Matthew Walker. Now, Halloween 5, I mean, we all know the plot for Halloween 5. Michael Myers was gunned down in a mine shaft in the movie prior. He didn't die. He gets his float on down the river, and he gets taken care of by the mountain man for a year, and he escapes. Well, not escapes, but he kills the mountain man and heads back to Haddonfield to hunt Jamie Lloyd down again, and, get his revenge on Rachel and Meeker and the rest of the townspeople that tried to kill him in, a year prior. That's basically the plot for Halloween 5. Did commentary for it if y'all want to check that out. Now, what leads up to this cock block moment between Sam and Spitz? Now, what happens is there's a big party at the Tower Farm. Sam, Spitz, Tina's there. This fucking creepy looking mole rat dude looks, I don't know what the hell he looks like. He's supposed to be like a meerkat or some shit like that. But he's there following Tina around the whole time trying to fuck her. And basically, what happens is they play a prank on the cops, and after the prank, it leads them into this barn. At the outside the Tower Farm party. So Tina, Sam, and Spitz are just messing around in the barn. But basically, Tina ends up leaving after Spitz scares her, and it gives room for Spitz to make his move on his girl. And his girl was just previously telling Tina, I think this might be it. I think I might lose my virginity tonight, and da 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 da. So she's anticipating the fact that she's going to have sex with her boyfriend. So he does play a prank on her with the Michael Myers mask, and she's like beating on him, and she's like, "That's not funny, you son of a bitch." And then he kisses her, and he gets her all in the mood. And you have this really long, drawn out make-out session. And the director Dominique Othenin Girard, the writer and director, the French guy who did Halloween 5. This dude focuses way too fucking much on making this scene as sexy as he possibly can. It's a Halloween movie. We can understand that these people are a couple or just hooking up, whatever the case may be. We don't have to watch him like slowly and sensually bite away at her fucking, the bow that's tied up in the front of her outfit, or, bite her panties off with his teeth and shit. I mean, I'm not watching Showtime or HBO Real Sex or some type of fancy reenactment in a rom-com or something. I don't need that shit in a Halloween movie. But whatever he's doing, it does get her in the mood, and he pulls out this little teensy weensy condom, and he's like, "Yes, baby, I'm prepared. I've got Wrigley's chewing gum right the fuck here." So he puts the condom on, and he's going in, man. He's in them cheeks, man. He is taking his girlfriend's virginity. He seems to be taking his time. She seems to be just loving it. But of course, in the background, we know no good deed goes unpunished, or whatever the saying is. Michael Myers is kind of like just looking at farm equipment, which one to pick. So what he does is he chooses a pitchfork. And while Spitz is in mid-stroke, busting them guts. I mean, nothing serious because it's her first time, but he's taking his time, and she's all like looking into his eyes and shit like that. Michael comes up behind Spitz while he is in mid-stroke, slams the fucking, slams that pitchfork down into Spitz's back, and the spikes come out of his stomach. And it's one of the ultimate. Excuse me, people. I don't know what the hell that was. Oh, Jesus. My goodness. Maybe that's Michael's spirit, like telling me to leave him the fuck alone. But it really is, though. It is one of the ultimate cockblock moments of all time, because here this guy is finally taking his girlfriend's virginity at the Tower Farm party in the barn, away from everybody. He's got hay stuck on, all over his body and shit. But Michael just impales him with this pitchfork, and he's actually still alive for a little bit. And then Michael kind of like just side eyes him and just he looks off, and he just walks off. Like, he just walks off like, bitch. Like, I love how Michael walks away. Like, he's so proud of just almost exterminating these kids that are in this barn. But it was a bit of a Friday the 13th moment. But what happens after that? Sam takes the pitchfork out of Spitz's body. She runs at Michael with the pitchfork. He grips her up, slams her into the wall, and he swings that big ass harvest knife, or whatever. I don't really know the professional term for it. Is it called a seath, a scythe, a shit, some shit? But the big ass children of the corn knife. He swings that shit. She dies off screen. Now, that is a bad moment, people. Like, could you imagine, fellas? Can you just imagine, like, literally being in mid-stroke, and then it's like, damn, like, it happened so fast, but like, baby, can you check my back? Is there a pitchfork back there somewhere? Because I felt a sharp pain, but it only lasted 2 seconds. Like, would you go into shock? Would you feel all of that shit? It's just a bad one, man. Spitz caught a bad one. R.I.P. Shout out to my man Spitz and Sam, actually, because they were going to have a good night that Halloween night, man. It was going to be a very magical night. Satin sheets and, candles and all types of shit that they were going to have. Now, number 2, people, let's jump franchises really, really quickly. Let's go from Haddonfield, Illinois to Crystal Lake, New Jersey, people. So that would make number 2. Oh, cockblock moments. Am I speaking another language here? Cockblock moments in horror movie history. Number 2 is Luke and Deborah in Jason Goes to Hell. And don't worry, if those names are unfamiliar, people, I definitely will explain it. Now, Luke was played by Michael B. Silver. Deborah is played by Michelle Clooney. Now, the fun fact about these two actors here, they were actually in a relationship prior to filming this, and they had broken up. So how awkward, yet how natural would it have been for them to pull off a sex scene in that tent. That is one of the most ironic things I think could ever happen casting wise in the Friday the 13th franchise. But it worked out for the better, man, because it is literally one of the best kills in the entire fucking Friday the 13th franchise. The kills in general in Jason Goes to Hell is one of the things that keep this movie afloat. But you know what leads up to this moment? You know, we have Luke and Deborah, and I can't remember the other actress's name or her character, but it's three people, two guys, one girl. You think it's going to be a really good tray ball of a night, but no, he's just got the one girl. The other girl is just being a tag along, which is fine. But you know, Luke and Deborah end up dipping off into the tent to go fuck, while the one girl is out in the sleeping bag, and she goes into the woods to take a piss, and she ends up getting sliced up by Black Jason. And when I say Black Jason, for the uninitiated, Jason Goes to Hell is basically Jason's his demonic force in the form of an evil worm, which somebody tried to say was a deadite from Evil Dead. It goes from person to person, possessing them with the essence of Jason until Jason can be reborn through a Voorhees woman's vagina. Yes, people, that is the plot for Jason Goes to Hell. I am not bullshitting y'all. Anyway, what happens is Luke and Deborah, they dip off. Their friend gets killed outside the tent. They barely even hear it. I don't think their making out session was that fucking loud that they couldn't hear it. But Luke and Deborah, they actually have what is a pretty hot and heavy sex scene in a Friday the 13th movie. We don't really get like the groans and the grunts that this girl is letting off, Michelle Clooney, are so fucking realistic, man. Like I'm starting to think that they actually made up on set and got back together shortly after this scene was filmed, because they are getting it in, man. She gets on top of him, and first of all, it's almost like a PSA in a way. Not just don't have sex in a Friday 13th movie, but don't have unsafe sex in a Friday 13th movie, because he looks at the condom that she gets and he's like, Debbie, I don't even know how to open this. I hate these things. It's like, fucking how much of just a steroid jock are you, dickhead? Like, come on, man. So she grabs the rubber and she throws it out the tent, but you do see Jason come up and he steps on it before he grabs that tent pole. So what's happening is Deborah's riding the shit out of Luke, and he's loving it. She's loving it so much she can't even like open her eyes, so she's just got like her head to the ceiling of the tent, and she's just really into it. So you see Jason on the outside of the tent picks up this big ass tent pole, and what he does is he sticks that fucking tent pole right through Deborah's back, and it comes shooting out of her stomach. And I'm talking like, when it happened, she coughs up blood. All this blood shoots onto Luke's face. But Jason doesn't stop there, because he grabs, with both hands, grabs the tent pole and slices it upward. And it cuts Deborah's fucking body in half. And you literally see her body split in half from the front. And you see her split in half from the back. And there's this really cool shot of the camera zooming in on Luke as the blood is just flying all over his face and all in that tent. I love that shot, but then you hear, I think Luke's head gets crushed. You hear it off screen, but you can hear something crush in the background. But Cockblock moment. First of all, my man could have had a threesome popping out there, but he didn't, because he wasn't thinking how he was supposed to think in 1993. Cool, that's passable, whatever. But he was in there with the brunette chick, and he's getting it in, and Jason just like, it really was like a PSA on safe sex or no sex at Camp Crystal Lake. I swear to God, like if like a little rainbow and the more you know music popped up and the logo popped up and all that type shit, I wouldn't even been mad at the movie. It would have made the movie way more interesting than the final cut that we got. But I feel like Luke and Deborah's their death scene and sex scene, it's hard to watch because they are so into it, and you're like almost like cheering them on. I mean, it's a Friday 13th movie, so you know you're just like, yeah, they're gonna die if they have sex. But me personally, I'm cheering them on because I'm like, yeah, go ahead and get yours, man. I just didn't, when I first saw that movie as a kid, I didn't expect it to happen like that. Even though we've got like a POV shot of Jason just closing in on her shadow. But I didn't think he was going to split her ass in half. It's like, that's insult to injury, bro. Like, come on, man. Michael Myers didn't even do that. He let Spitz lay there and bleed out and die. He didn't split that motherfucker in half. He didn't do that. But, he didn't split him in half. But, speaking of, people getting split and sliced and shit like that, we are on to number 3, people. Number 3, this was a pretty interesting one. It was a bad one, but this was one I don't think I've seen this on screen in any movie as opposed to a horror movie. Number 3, people, is Leighton and Avery. Cockblock moments in horror movie history. Leighton and Avery from Hatchet 2. Now, Leighton was played by A.J. Bowen, and Avery was played by Alexis Kendra. Now, the plot for did I say Hatchet 3? I meant to say Hatchet 2. I can't remember what the hell I just said, people. My brain is just like, you can tell it's getting late for me because I might start to get a little cuckoo. But Hatchet 2. Now, the plot for Hatchet 2, it literally picks up after Hatchet 1, and Mary Beth, now played by Danielle Harris, she seeks the help of Reverend Zombie, played by Tony Todd, and she's like, my friends are in the swamp, and my daddy and my brother got killed in there, so they send a hunting party in to hunt Victor Crowley down, and everybody ends up fucking dying in terrible fashion. Victor Crowley does not fuck around when he dispatches of these people that should stay out of his swamp. And Leighton and Avery are no exceptions, man, because they are two people who are money hungry, and they want to, a get rich quick scheme, or not rich per se, but they need money like right now. So they decide to saddle up with the rest of the hunters and the townspeople and go into the woods, and they hunt down Victor Crowley. But the thing is, Leighton and Avery have a bit of a complicated backstory, and Leighton has supposedly moved on, and I think he's engaged or something like that. But what leads up to it is everybody splits up at some point in the woods. And Leighton and Avery are two of the people that split up in the woods, and they're having this conversation about what could have been, and they're talking about their relationship and what went wrong and who felt this way about what. And you get a little bit of the backstory with these characters. I mean, it's cool for a Hatchet movie, but those are two characters who I really couldn't give a shit about. I would have rather got a lot of backstory on R.A. Mihailov's character, or somebody along the lines of that, or Tom Holland's. Was it not Tom Holland? Isn't it Tom Holland, the guy that fucking directed the guy that directed Child's Play? I'm pretty sure his name's Tom Holland, and he's in this movie. Whoever he is, he plays Mary Beth's uncle. But Leighton and Avery, they end up, when we cut back to them after, following the rest of the characters around for a little bit as they hunt in the woods, we cut back to Leighton and Avery, and they're hot and heavy. In the woods, Leighton is pounding that ass from the back, and Avery's talking shit to him. She's like, tell me you love me. Tell me I'm the only one for you, and you want to marry me, and you're going to leave your fiance. Like, she's talking all this crazy shit to him. I can't remember exactly word for word what she says, but she's doing a whole lot of talking. And it's almost like, I know if that was me, depending on what somebody says can take me completely out of the mood. Like, sometimes I don't want to hear shit. I mean, I want to hear shit, but it's like sometimes people just talk too goddamn much. That's all I'm gonna say. And she's talking a lot. And Avery still, he's still in them cheeks, man. Like, literally in them cheeks. He is pounding away, hitting from the back, and she's like, "Fuck me harder," or whatever she's saying. Next thing you know, the hatchet comes swinging. Avery's head, or not Avery, but Leighton's head just goes flying off his fucking shoulders. Clean off his fucking shoulders, people. And when the moment his head detaches from his shoulders, and he is now decapitated, fully decapitated, he like is grabbing onto her, and his body, I guess he's having aftershocks when his head gets cut off, because he starts pumping even faster, and she's kind of like just taken aback by it and surprised. She's like, "Oh," she's like, "Well, keep going, don't stop," and then his body just kind of just slows down, like his body just winds down after he's like super charged up and has those aftershocks, and then he just stops, like he's just a decapitated limp dick inside of her. And she's just like, "Hey, why'd you stop? What are you doing?" She turns around and she sees that she's been fucked by the Headless Horseman from Sleepy Hollow at some point, and she starts freaking out. Victor Crowley, he hatchets her in the vajayjay, yo. Like, it's such a weird kill because he hatchets her in the vajayjay, and then he struggles to get the shit out. So that's how she had that snappy nappy dugout. If he couldn't get the hatchet out of that pussy, then you already know she probably had some good shit. And I'm just saying, listen, people, I'm not trying to be gratuitous, but we all grown here. And we know that, I shoot from the hip on this show. I'm just saying, I've never seen anything like that kill, like that cock block moment in horror history, because the way he just kept pumping, it's like his body kind of, like his soul was telling him, "All right, man, this is literally the last piece of ass you're ever going to get until you go to either heaven, hell, purgatory, whatever the case may be. So get these last couple pumps in, make them count, make her remember you, even if she dies right after you." And I feel like that's exactly what the body did, man. So big rest in peace, shout out to Leighton, my man Leighton, for getting those last good pumps in to not his girl, but his once girl Avery. Now, number 4, people. It's crazy because I don't have names for these characters. I looked on IMDb and everything, and I think these people were named guy and girl. But number 4 cock block moments in horror movie history involve guy and girl from Dead Tone. Now, if nobody knows Dead Tone, this movie was also known as 75. It's directed by Deon Taylor. Shout out to Deon Taylor. And y'all can check out was it an Intoxic commentary I did for Dead Tone? It may or may not have been. I just know there was a six pack in the building. So you guys can check out my commentary for Dead Tone if y'all if y'all want. But literally, these characters have no names. They are just two party goers that are just written into the story to get killed. They are on screen to get killed. There's not supposed to be any character development. We don't know who they were friends with. We don't know who they drove with, who they were supposed to leave with, if they had calculus that year or what. They are there to die. That guy, whose name is Guy, his name is Zach Kilberg, and the girl's name is Lauren Litt. Now, like I said, Dead Tone. This movie is about a bunch of college students who played a prank a couple years back that ended very terribly, where their parents got murdered, and then some of them grow up. They've got new friends, but there is a core group that actually survived the massacre. So what they do is, like dumbasses, like 12 years ago or 12 years later, they play the game again at this big ass mansion party that is hosted by one of the biggest movie douchebags ever. And what happens is they end up calling a real serial killer's number, and he comes to that address to murder everybody. It is one of the best guilty pleasure slasher movies I've ever seen. Like, it's not a great movie per se, but I do love it as a cheesy B movie slasher flick, because when this is the type of shit I used to write, like in my personal life when I used to call myself writing scripts as a youngin'. This type of shit I used to write. Killer shows up at a big ass crib and starts killing everybody. That's exactly what he does. And at some point, now this is a little bit after his massacre, this killer is creeping on this couple that's making out in a hot tub outside. Nobody's there. It's just them two. They've got the best seat in the house, and they're making out, and then the girl looks at the guy while they're in the hot tub, and she's like, "Do you want to see how long I can hold my breath?" And basically she's just insinuating that she wants to suck his dick underwater. So look, I'm all for the kink and all that type of shit. Have I ever had head in a jacuzzi in a hot tub? Absolutely not, or at least not that I can remember. You know what? I haven't, because if so, I probably would have remembered. But yeah, she's insinuating she wants to top him up in the pool, and he's got this really terrible line where he's kind of like caressing her face and just guiding her head down as she slowly goes down. He's like, "Tell the Titanic I said hello," and it's just like, come on, dude. She don't even want to give you head no more because you're a terrible joker, yo. Terrible. So she tops him up for like a couple seconds, and he's enjoying it. And she comes back up, and she's like, "How was that, baby?" And he's like, "Oh, that was so good. That was so good." And so she goes back under the water, and he's enjoying it again. And I'm like, who wouldn't enjoy that? My man's at one of the best parties he's ever been to in his life. It's just him and his girl in the hot tub. He's getting his dick sucked underwater. Life is good, right? Wrong, because the fucking killer pops up right behind him, and in no time axes his fucking head off. And I'm telling you, it's gone. Excuse me, wherever his head landed, it's gone, because there's just a stump. And this girl comes up from sucking dead dick, and she sees a stump, and she's getting the water out of her eyes, and she's like, "Oh my God," and she starts screaming, and the killer eventually drowns her. Now, how much of a cock block moment is this? It's pretty low. It's pretty low, man. Like, the girl's giving head, and you gonna take his. Like, come on, killer. Like, I can't remember the killer's name. I know he's just got an axe, and he's the same. He's got the same costume as the killer in Urban Legend, damn near. But like, that's low, man. Like, you could at least let this man, like, you could have gave her like 5 minutes to top him up. Or he could have just tapped him on the shoulder, like, "Look, bro, I know you probably never had head in a hot tub before. I haven't either, so I want you to live out both of our dreams. I'll kill you later. I'll make my rounds with the kids in the mansion. I'll be right back out here for you." That's what a considerate killer would do. But no, he had to have a cock block moment in horror movie history, and that's why that killer got on my nerves, man. It wasn't because he killed everybody else in the fucking house. It was because he killed that guy who was getting head from his girlfriend in the hot tub, man. Because he was probably thinking dreams could really come true at some point, until he got his head cut off. Like, literally. It's the true definition of getting some head, people. Now, number 5. I almost wanted to say speaking of heads, but it wasn't a good enough segue, because that's not the only thing that pops up in this example right here. But my number 5, people, belongs to Dolores and Kowalski from Leprechaun 4, aka Leprechaun in Space. Did commentary for this a few St. Patrick's days ago. So did I say that right? I probably didn't. But a couple St. Patrick's days ago, I did commentary for Leprechaun 4 in Space. Y'all can check that out. It is yet another guilty pleasure of mine. But Dolores and Kowalski, man. Dolores was played by Debbie Dunning. Ooh la la, because she was fine as fuck in Leprechaun 4. And Kowalski's played by Geoff Mead. And he was in a movie I saw recently, not necessarily a new one, but I knew I recognized that actor from somewhere, and I can't remember. I'll look it up later on. But the plot for Leprechaun in Space is there is no fucking plot for Leprechaun in Space. I mean, there's Leprechaun's in space. He wants to wife up the chick the chick that comes from the planet Dominia. That's really about it. And Leprechaun, the way he comes back to life is just, it is one of the cock block moments in horror movie history. So basically what happens is, what leads up to this moment is the Space Marines, including Miguel A. Nunez Jr. The Space Marines have defeated Leprechaun. They blew him up. They've saved Princess Zarina from the planet Dominia. They save her ass, and they bring her on the ship so she can, nurse herself back to health, or they can nurse her back to health. So what happens is, everybody's getting drunk in a little disco lounge area, and Kowalski and Dolores, they dip off. He's like, yeah, you want to dip off? And she's like, well, they're going to see us. And he's like, they're drunk as shit, baby. Don't worry about it. So, of course, everybody's cheering them on, like, oh, where you guys going? You guys going to get it in? So they roll out. They don't give a shit. So they go to, like, the creepiest, most desolate fucking part of the entire ship. They go where there's, like, these steel crates, and there's just a lot of nothing there. Like, you guys are going to fuck on lead pipes with steam shooting out of them. It's definitely not the move, man. Definitely not the move. But the thing is, prior to them celebrating their victory over the Leprechaun, when Leprechaun was exploded, when he jumps on the grenade and he explodes and everybody thinks he's dead, Kowalski, being the tough, jockish, douchish space marine that he is, he pisses on Leprechaun's severed arm, and he's just like, he's like, here's a little Rocky Mountain spring water, Sarge, check me out. And he's just pissing on Leprechaun's arm. And then what happens is, Leprechaun's like, I don't know if it's like his essence or some shit goes up through the piss stream and into Kowalski's dick hole. Like, literally goes up into that man's penis, and he jumps back, and he's just like, oh shit, what was that? Now we know how Leprechaun's probably going to, be resurrected. So what happens is, Kowalski and Dolores are, they're playing grab ass, and they're making out, and she's filling him up. She's got her hands in his pants, and he's like, take it easy, baby. You don't have to be so rough. So she's just laughing like, yeah, whatever. And then he starts flinching again. He's like, come on, baby. You don't want to hurt Mr. Snake. And she's still laughing. Like, she's probably thinking to herself, like, nigga, I'm not even doing nothing yet. Like, I haven't even torn this shit off and eaten it in front of your face, or whatever type of shit she might have been into, because she looks like quite the fucking wildcat. Like, she really does in that movie. I don't know what the actress looks like now, but she's fine as hell in that movie. But he starts really flinching. He's like, God damn, babe. He's like, he's like, are you trying to take it home with you? And he backs up, and she's like, yo, I'm not even touching you. What's going on? So all of this movement starts going on in his pants, and you see shit moving around and enlarging. And she's looking at him like, look, Viagra went out of style in the year, I don't know what. Like, I don't know what year they're supposed to be in. They're in like year 2090,000 or some shit like that. But she's looking down at his dick, and it's just like a whole bunch of activity, like something's trying to escape. So he's just screaming in pain, and he just falls onto the floor. He's sitting there against the wall, and what happens? Leprechaun literally pops out of this man's dick, fully clothed, hat and everything, puns, locked and loaded, ready to go. So as soon as he pops his head up out of this man's dick, he says, what'd he say? Let that be a lesson to you, lad. Always wear a prophylactic. And then he literally flies out of Kowalski's dick and runs away. Like, this is some of the craziest shit I've ever seen. It looks very cheap, and is stupid as hell. But it's Leprechaun in space, so I would say, people, that is definitely not the craziest thing you're going to see in that movie. But it is nonetheless a cock block moment in horror movie history. And honestly, it sucks for Kowalski, but he kind of brought it on himself, because he couldn't just let Leprechaun, you couldn't leave well enough alone, man, as every fucking person in horror movies do. Like, he just had to be extra and piss on Leprechaun's dead body, and that's why he got that thing up in him. He got that thing up in him. That thing that he couldn't get rid of. And now his dick is split into several pieces. And now he can't even get Dolores. Dolores ends up dying, but this is later, way later on in the movie. And the whole time she spends talking about I'm doing this for Kowalski. I'm not doing this for any of you guys. I'm doing this for Kowalski. And it's like, Kowalski should have known better. Like, why did he even do that? Why would you let your man piss on a dead leprechaun's arm? That's what the fuck he get. He brought it on himself, people. I'm sorry, he did. Jesus. Pardon me, people. But number 6. Number 6 here, people. Oh, this is a good one. I had forgot this was even on the list, people. Number 6 for the cock block moments in horror movie history. Number 6 goes to Kurt and Jules from Cabin in the Woods. Kurt played by Chris Hemsworth, Jules played by Anna Hutchinson. I never knew she had an accent in real life. I think she's like British, English, or something along the lines of that. She talks like Elizabeth Hurley from Austin Powers. But Cabin in the Woods also did commentary for that if y'all want to check it out. And it kind of sucks because not the movie doesn't suck, but I'm saying the movie it sucks that the movie was shelved for like 3 years. I think that was around the time when MGM filed for bankruptcy, and I think Lionsgate or somebody had to buy it off of. I really can't remember, people. Y'all can look up the story online. Like I said, my commentary is there if y'all want to check that out. But this moment though, the plot for Cabin in the Woods is it's what you think it's going to be, but absolutely not. And that's really the plot. You think it's going to be just the nerd and the alpha male and the horny girl and the bookworm girl. You think it's going to be your typical cliche characters going to literally a cabin in the woods, but it turns everything on its ear. It is definitely not what you think it is. I will leave it at that for people that haven't seen it. Definitely, if you haven't seen it, you do not want to be listening to this spoiler. But basically, what leads up to Kurt and Jules's cock block moment is basically the puppeteers, the people that run the show at this cabin who are trying to please the elder gods and make sure or the old ones, I can't remember what they call them, but basically they're trying to please these people by following instructions and doing what they are told to do. And one of the things that they do is make the group split up and act like they're cliched titles. So what happens is Kurt and Jules, they go out into the woods to go fuck, and they're drunk, and it's a really interesting scene because Jules is like, it's really dark out here, baby. So then they cut to, the control booth, the control room, and what they do is they turn up they're fucking with the control panel. They have climate control, they can control the moonlighting, they can inject pheromones to make the kids horny, to make the kids confused. They can do whatever the fuck they want in these scenarios. It's almost like in a simulation type of thing, like what they did in Resident Evil Retribution, but it's a little bit crazier. But so they release the pheromones and they adjust the moonlighting to get everybody in the mood and all that type of good stuff. And Kurt and Jules are making out. She shows the goods. She shows her tits when she went legit, and they're making out. And Kurt gets on top of her, and they're like doing this really close zoom in shot. It's not. It's like it gradually gets closer and closer. But what happens is a knife. A dirty, rusty-ass knife goes into Jules' hand, so they get attacked in the woods by the Bruckner zombie family that's been summoned to kill these kids off. So Kurt, like, clotheslines somebody, or I don't know if he clotheslines a person or just hits somebody, but Kurt is, excuse me, he's trying to do his thing. He's trying to save his girlfriend and save himself, but he gets stabbed with the rusty knife, and he gets a bear trap thrown and knocked onto his head. But what happens is Jules tries to run, and they throw the bear trap on her back, like it locks onto her back, and they start pulling her closer and closer towards them. So two of the Bruckner family members, they grab Kurt and they hold him. It's nothing he can do. So the other members, they grab this big ass saw, this big ass hacksaw, and just in the nick of time, they show them slide this hacksaw across Jules's neck, and you see blood shoot out, but the cut is so quick you don't see her get decapitated. But she does get decapitated because one of the family members comes and throws her head into Dana's hands when they get attacked at the cabin. But it is definitely a cock block movie moment because that the puppeteers gave them what they wanted. They gave them good moonlighting, they gave them pheromones to get in the mood. They could have at least sat and enjoyed the show before they let them get murdered by the Bruckner family. I mean, first of all, it's unfortunate that anytime Thor is about to get some ass, it's messed up that his girlfriend just gets beheaded. Plus, this before Chris Hemsworth was Thor. So I was like rooting for him in this movie, and I hadn't even seen the Thor movies at that point. I think they had already been out. But I still haven't seen the Thor movies. Don't judge my life, people. I'm just saying. I was really rooting for Chris Hemsworth in this role as opposed to him being in those Thor movies. But it's just unfortunate, man. So rest in peace, shout out to Jules. Kurt gets it too, but not in a cock block way, but it's very unfortunate, people. Now, number 7 here. This almost didn't make the list. Number 7 was kind of just, I remember this kind of being a default one. like a default pick, and I was just like, I need something to fill up this list real quick. And I had forgot all about this scene, and technically it does count. As brief as it is, it still counts as a cockblock moment. And number 7 belongs to Rix and Up North from Alien Covenant. Rix played by Jussie Smollett, and Up North played by Callie Hernandez. Now, the plot for Alien Covenant. Um, Shit fucks up on the plane. Plans change. They want to inhabit a new planet that they didn't plan on doing because it seems like it can be inhabited. And everything goes from 0 to 100 the moment they land on this planet. That's basically the plot, people. Alien Covenant, I actually like that movie a lot. I love that movie. For somebody like me who was a little, you know, I wasn't really satisfied with Prometheus. I'll go back and watch it eventually in its entirety, but I remember not being satisfied with it at all. It wasn't what I expected, and that was not in a good way. But Alien Covenant kind of brought the series back on track for me because it gave me back bursters, chest bursters, mouth bursters, all types of shit. But it wasn't any of those that got Rix and Up North. No, 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 people. It was a good old xenomorph, and the xenomorph looks great in this movie, by the way. But basically, what leads up to this is, everybody, they get away from the xenomorph infested island or the planet. They think everything's cool. They think that they have gotten away from the horrors, the planet, whatever the case may be, the aliens. They think they've gotten away from everything, and everybody's just chilling in their own parts of the ship. And Danny McBride's driving the ship. So down one of the corridors, we got a shower sequence. Jussie Smollett and Callie Hernandez are, they're hot and heavy. She actually just seems like she's just over everything. She seems like she's just so overwhelmed with the type of day that they've had. They done lost a shit ton of crew members. The majority, like all of their crew members, pretty much are dead at this point. And what happens is Jussie Smollett's character just comes up behind her just to comfort her. And as you do, man, especially a shower scene like that, if you see the chick is in distress, then just waltz up on her and see if you can help the situation a little bit. And he does, because she gives into it, and she's obviously feeling a lot better because they start making out in the shower. Now, it's hard to tell if they're actually fucking, but they are. She's into it, he's into it. It's a pretty hot and heavy scene in the shower. But I was cool seeing Jussie Smollett get some ass in this movie. And what happens is you can literally like almost hear the xenomorph creep up, but then you see the tail come between both up north and Rix's feet, or between their legs in the shower. Water's running. Then you see the alien's claws just slowly grab or like place their claws on the glass, and it's hissing. It's hissing behind Rix at the shower glass, and she gets hit by the tail, and she backs up and she's just like, listen, I know you are not that well endowed that your penis is touching my ankle. So she jumps back to look down, and Rix is kind of like getting the water out of his face to look down, and as he looks down, the xenomorph tail just slides away, and she sees the xenomorph behind him. So when she screams and tries to grab him, the xenomorph shoots that extra mouth into the back of his head, and it comes out of his mouth, and all the glass goes shattering. He falls onto the ground. All the blood goes shooting onto Callie Hernandez's face, and she gets killed off screen. Now, this was such an upsetting moment for me because I'm so used to, I used to watch Empire, and as everybody knows, or for the uninitiated also, Jussie Smollett was the gay character on Empire, which is fine. I'm used to that character, that actor just having male love interests throughout that entire show. I think the one woman that he actually did make out with in that series was Alicia Keys, and that's a fucking win in my book. But I'm just so used to Jussie Smollett making out with male co-stars on that show Empire. So to see Jussie Smollett come back over to the other side of the fence, I'm like, okay, cool, let's go. And he's got a love interest actress who's not bad looking at all. I don't remember what Callie Hernandez else was. I don't remember what else she was in. But I was cool with the fact that they were a married couple. They weren't just boyfriend and girlfriend. I think all the couples on that Alien Covenant ship were married couples. So I like the fact that they were married, and they didn't have too much of an overwhelming excuse me, relationship throughout the movie, because you don't really want too much romance in fucking alien movie. But it's still a cock block moment, man, because my man was about to, after the day that they had, he was about to get in some yams, you know what I'm saying? And it was, oh god, it would have made both of them feel better after this shit that they've seen, man. Plus, I've never had sex on a spaceship. And maybe I'll put it on my bucket list, but I can only imagine like what type of, how's the friction different? I mean, it's not like it was an anti-gravity spaceship or anything. They weren't floating around, but it's like what's the friction like? What's the motion like? I'm wishful thinking here. I feel like I need to plan my NASA trip a little sooner than expected. But let's move on, people. Let's not talk about my plans for sexual ventures in space. We're not going to do that. That's for a whole nother episode. But number 8, people, cock block moments. This is actually, I want to say reverse, but this is self-inflicted cock block moment right here. This belongs to Suzanne and Jay from Night of the Demons, and Linnea Quigley played the great character of Suzanne in that original Night of the Demons movie. I think it was 1988 that this movie came out, and Jay is played by Lance Fenton. Now, the plot for Night of Demons is a bunch of kids on Halloween night. They want to hold a seance at an abandoned funeral parlor called Hell House. And what they don't know is that house is possessed. So once one of them gets possessed, it's like a domino effect. Everybody, starts to bite the dust, and they don't die. They just come back as demons. And, everybody's a different type of demon. Some people have broken necks. Some people are impaled on sticks of wood. Some people are just, damn near silent demons because they've had their tongues ripped out. All they can do is grunt and groan. There's one of them that just floats around all over the place. There's one that can transform at will. There are all types of demons running throughout Hull House, and it's up to, the rest of the kids that are alive to escape this place. Now, I say this is self-inflicted because, first of all, let's talk about what leads up to this moment. Now, Jay originally went to this party, a man in a relationship, but he left the party a single man. Now, oh, actually, he never left the party at all. But Jay goes there with Judy, his big-tittied girlfriend, who just does not want to give up the cheeks, which is perfectly fine. She's holding on to her innocence. She is that type of final girl, and I like that about Judy in the movie. And Jay just, he rears his ugly head, and he's just like, oh, come on, Judy, you want it just as much as I do, right? And it's like, you're an asshole, dog. You're an asshole. You won't even let the pussy come to you. You know what I mean? You can't even wait long enough to let it come to you. So now you fucked up on a good girl. So instead of going after the good girl, everybody starts splitting up in the house because the house apparently is big as fuck and gets bigger the more you walk around Hull House. But what happens is Jay finds Suzanne, who has been possessed by the demons of Hull House. She is one of the first people possessed in this entire movie. So what happens is she's in the bathroom and she's fucking up, her face with her lipstick and all that type of stuff. And Jay comes in and he's like, Suzanne, what are you doing in here? And she's just got the makeup on her face. And he's like, the makeup looks pretty good. He's like, but you could use a little touch up. So she kind of reveals her titties and she's like, look, I'm not wearing it. Like, she doesn't say that, but she reveals them, just kind of she looks down like, looky here, look what I got for you. And he's like, okay, that's what you're doing. And he's like, well, what's going on here? What's the catch? What happened to the lights? And where's everybody at? And she just, crawls over to him and starts unbuckling or unzipping his pants. And he's like, okay, fuck the lights. Like, we can get this popping right now. So what happens is they start fucking. She gets on top of him. She starts fucking. Now, the lipstick smeared all over her face and everything. So she's riding him all slow and all sensual. They're both into it. They're moaning and all that type of shit. And she looks down at him and she's just like, what are you looking at? He's like, what? And she's like, is my makeup okay? Stop staring at me. And then he's all confused. He's like, Suzanne. He's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, your makeup's fine. And when she looks back down at him, her eyes are all yellow and red. And she turns into her demon face type of Suzanne. But what happens is, I said this is self-inflicted, cockblock, because my man Jay is already inside of her. But when she turns into her demon self, she presses down on his eyes and splat gouges his fucking eyes out. Both of his eyes. And it's a really, really good practical effect, man. That is a practical effect. That is a mannequin that those eyeballs explode. Like, she literally explodes the eyeballs one by one. Like, how you cock block yourself? At least Angela in Night of Demons 2, where she's riding Z-Boy and she's in her full demon face riding that dude. At least she finished fucking him. She got the job done and turned Z-Boy into a demon because of that puss. Now, I don't know what that says about demonic vagina, but listen, I don't think I want to know. I've dealt with a lot of chicks that fuck around with witchcraft and stuff like that. So I don't need no parts of the demonic infestation. But she cockblocked herself because she didn't get off. She didn't let this man get off, and then she gouged his fucking eyes out. I mean, it's a cool effect, but she really did cockblock herself. So congratulations, Suzanne. You played yourself, but you know what? It made for one of the best death scenes in the entire movie. That death scene is badass. And if nobody has seen Night of Demons, I definitely recommend y'all check that out. Now, as we wrap this up, people, we've got two more literally, and we are just under a little bit under an hour here, and I feel like I'm making, I feel like I'm making good time here. Now, let's see, what do we have here, people? Number 9. I don't know if I got the fucking hiccups or what. Number 9, people. This was one that it really disturbed me, man, because I actually saw this in the theater, and I maybe I was too young to see this in the theater, but I was already into horror. This was just a super sexed up horror movie and horror property in general. But this movie was like just one big ass fucking porno. That's why I was kind of like in awe at this movie in general. The sex, the gore, the effects, all types of shit it was going down in this movie. But number 9, people, cock block moments in horror movie history. Patrick and whoever the fuck those two girls were in Species 2. Now, Species 2, people. The plot, basically, there's 3 astronauts. What's this guy's name? Justin Lazard, Michael T. Williamson, and I can't remember the actress's name, but 3 astronauts, they travel to Mars. They come back not alone. They black out while they're in orbit, and they can't remember what happened. But what had happened was when they blacked out in orbit, they were all infected. And the one that was most infected and most affected by everything is Patrick, Justin Lazard's character, and he becomes the new Species type of guy, how Natasha Henstridge was in the first one, but instead it's him. And he is just going around, he's an alien porn star pretty much in this movie. He's going around fucking everything and they mama. And every time this nigga fucks somebody, they give instant birth. So when I say this motherfucker at some point in the 3rd act of the movie has all these children just being born inside of this barn, and then they go into the little cocoon stage at some point in the movie. This movie's fucking nuts, people. I feel like Species 2 as a sci-fi monster movie, creature feature overall, does not get the credit that it's due. It's not better than the first one. The cast is not as strong, but the movie's fucking wild, and they went for broke. I'm almost scared to watch part 3. I know part 3 will never even live up to part 2. But what happens is, they have this not governor's ball type of thing, but they have this welcome back thing for the astronauts. And Patrick's dad is like the big general type of guy, and he's a pretty big deal. And he keeps telling his son, like, you keep your dick in your pants, son, and keep your eyes on the prize. Because he knows his son's a little fast ass. And he's like, look, man, you just came back from space. You're going to need a catcher's mitt for all that pussy that's about to get thrown at you. And, he doesn't listen. And they tell him no sexual contact for X amount of time. And what happens? All these astronauts is fucking at one point. But Patrick, he fucks not one, but 2 sisters back to back. They meet in his room and she's like, this is my sister. I can't remember that actress' name, but one of the actresses' name is Nancy LaScala. And both the actresses look good. But they go in the room and he locks the door behind him and she's like, this is my sister. We share everything together. And they both get naked. He gets naked and he's like, all right, let's get it. So he fucks the one sister literally as soon as he pulls out. Soon as she gets up off this man, the other sister walks up to the one sister who just got fucked and she rubs her face and she's like, it's my turn now. And she just climbs right into bed. Like, this nigga didn't wash his dick off or nothing. No, nothing. They just all too close for comfort. Ain't nobody take no whore's bath, no nothing. Nobody brushed their teeth. Nobody did anything. He's just going from sister to sister. Never knew how much I missed you. But what happens is, like I said, when this nigga fucks women, instant pregnancy. I'm talking instant. Add water. Just add water type of pregnancy. And that's exactly what happens, people, because she goes in the bathroom while her sister's getting her boots smoked. And what happens is she starts to feel a little queasy. So her stomach just immediately starts inflating. Like, her stomach just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And all while that's happening and she's freaking out in the bathroom like, wait, am I pregnant? Like, what's going on right now? It's like some fried berry type of shit that goes down in that movie. And what happens is Patrick starts growing tentacles out of his back while he's fucking this girl, and it's so much going on, and the whole sequence is really uncomfortable to watch because you've got a woman that's given instant alien birth in the bathroom while her sister's pretty much getting alien raped, and this nigga has tentacles popping out of his back, and he's just screaming like they got like a semi slow motion shot where he's like ah, he's just screaming. I don't know if he was busting a nut or if he was just like about to sprout wings or some shit because the movie, that sequence is insane. It's really crazy to watch. And should we say Patrick cockblocked himself? Did he? I think he did, because if he just would have waited, or maybe he just wasn't the one. I feel like he was just destined to be that species because the black guy was the only one that was like immune to it. I don't know if it was his blood type or if he had like a history of illness or something. But the same thing happens to the astronaut woman. But Patrick, yeah, he kind of did cock block himself because he could have waited. He just wanted to be a little fast ass and get us some cheeks. Sisters, now I ain't gonna lie, I never ever had that happen to me. I've never been able to tag sisters before. I've never knew sisters that were into that. But uh, we're not gonna go there. We're not gonna go there, people. This ain't about me and my fantasies. All right, I'm not gonna make it about that. Like I said, that's a whole different topic for a different time, man. Now, number 10, people, so I can close this out because I know y'all are getting tired of me talk about all this freak ass shit on Valentine's Day evening. But let's get down to the nitty gritty, people. Number 10, and this actually is number 10 for very good reason. I felt as though this was how I should close out. Number 10, Mr. Marliston and everybody in the movie Cherry Falls. Now, I did a review for Cherry Falls. It's one of my earlier reviews if y'all want to check that out. Pretty long-winded, which most of my reviews are, but I am going to do a commentary for Cherry Falls pretty soon, people. I should have did one tonight since it was Valentine's Day. Looky here, people. Now, Mr. Marliston is played by Jay Moore, and everyone is played by everyone. Now, the only person I know amongst that cast of everyone who is under attack is DJ Qualls from The New Guy. But Cherry Falls, if I can spin the plot for you guys really, really quickly, there is a small town called Cherry Falls, and a bunch of dead teenagers start to pop up. And once they get an MO, an official MO, from this killer, we find out that the killer is targeting virgin teenagers in this town. So what the kids decide to do is take themselves off the chopping block and have sex. It's really one of those plots that works against it turns the slasher genre on its ear, and I feel like a lot of people don't give this movie credit either. When they think of genre bending, um, defying type of slasher films, they always credit Scream. They always go to Scream first, which is rightfully so. But Cherry Falls is definitely one of the movies that broke the 2000s era into something completely different. Because, a killer hunting virgins down, like, Jesus Christ, man. And, what leads up to that moment that I'm talking about, that cockblock moment? What happens is we find out, spoiler alert, that Mr. Marliston is the killer. He has been the killer all this time. He's been dressing up, impersonating his mother. Yes, it is very much like a Psycho ripoff, if you want. Some would call it an homage. Some would call it a flat-out ripoff. I don't knock either or. But what happens is Mr. Marliston, there's a bit of a not a big action sequence at his house, but the boyfriend, Brittany Murphy, rest in peace, shout out to her, plays the lead girl, and Michael Bain plays the sheriff, and that is Brittany Murphy's father in the movie. So what happens is Mr. Marliston gets attacked by Brittany Murphy's boyfriend, and then Brittany Murphy's boyfriend tries to save her and her dad. The dad has a fight with Mr. Marliston. Mr. Marliston kills the dad, and what happens is he chases Brittany Murphy and her boyfriend to this sex party that's in the middle of nowhere at this big ass house. So when they run inside the house, there's nobody downstairs. There's one couple downstairs. There's Brittany Murphy's best friend and the guy she's been crushing on the entire time. And they're perfectly fine with dying and being virgins because they're not trying to fuck. They're just so into each other that they're slow dancing. They're not upstairs with everybody else having a big ass there's a big ass orgy party upstairs, people. As soon as she runs upstairs, there's people all over the fucking room. They have picked a spot safely and securely, whether it's the corner of the room, whether it's next to their friends, whether it's next to their siblings, whether it's next to their enemies. These fucking kids are all over the rooms with sheets, blankets, and pillows, and all crazy intentions to fucking rid themselves of sudden death. because they are in there fucking. Now it's not a gratuitous moment. It was supposed to be way more gratuitous, way more graphic. The sex, the orgy scene at the end, but the MPAA told the guy, the director and the writer, yo, you can't put that shit up in here. So what happens is, Brittany Murphy yells at everybody up in the room and gets their attention. She's like, Mr. Marliston's a killer. Literally, as she's saying that, Mr. Marliston is running up the steps behind him, and they do this crazy zoom in on him with blood all over his face, with the wig still on, with the dress still on, with the knife in his hand. He screams, "Class dismissed!" And then they jackhammer this music, this crazy tense music, and Mr. Marliston just starts killing people. He's just walking around slicing people's throats and stabbing people in the stomach. He is just slicing motherfuckers up. This is the ultimate. Said this was last for a reason, because Mr. Marliston was like, listen, it's not going to be one couple. It's going to be all you motherfuckers. Y'all up here smashing. I don't have no rules anymore, because he really was supposed to be killing virgins, but I feel like he just completely lost his shit at the end of the movie, and he is just casually just strolling through the party, through this room, slicing everybody up. He is fucking shit up. It's almost like if Freddy it reminds me, like, I feel like every killer needs that moment. It's like Jason in the cornfield, Freddy at the cookout in part two. Jason was in the cornfield slaughtering people, and Freddy versus Jason. It's like Michael Myers killing the fire department or the mob at the end of Halloween Kills, or when Michael Myers was killing people under the strobe light in Halloween 6. That is this that is Cherry Falls equivalent right there. That is exactly what this moment reminds me of, because he is literally slaughtering everybody. Now, there's a lot of students that survive the stab wounds and shit like that, but they all start trampling over each other. Nobody can get down the staircase. People are getting crushed, maimed. It's ass and titties flying everywhere. What the dude saying, Boys in the Hood? He said motherfuckers throwing cookies out the cookie shop. Everybody's flying all over the place. I was in there smoking everybody. But no, that's really how it is. Like, it is complete chaos when Marliston comes in and starts murdering people at the orgy party. Like, it's insane. It is the ultimate cockblock moment in horror movie history, people. And I really do feel like I put that last for a reason. But since we are an hour into this, people, I will wrap it up and say, this episode will be out tonight. So let me give you guys my Jerry Springer final thought. Give me a second. It's Valentine's Day, people. Valentine's Day 2022. And if you're going to screw, just make sure you do or don't. Take care of yourselves and each other. That's it. And I feel like I should have just had people clapping. I really didn't know what the fuck I was going for there, people. I really should do a Jerry Springer final thought before the end of every episode, because sometimes I don't know how to close out. No, all jokes aside though, I felt as though this had to go out on Valentine's Day. I'm not trying to bust up any grooves, and I'm not trying to cock block myself, but I felt as though this was definitely one that was long overdue. I did tell you guys I do want to start getting more of these, these lists and my top this and my top that, or worst of and best of type of list, man. I enjoy doing these, even though they do, like I said, get long-winded. And my cat, people, Jazz has now joined us for the episode, and he is adding nothing of substance here. I think he's telling me that it's time to go to sleep at some point, because it's almost, it's like 9 something. It's after 9 o'clock, people. But yeah, people, make sure y'all wrap it up. I mean, this is not just on Valentine's Day, but this is just in general. Make sure y'all wrap it up, and if y'all don't, y'all better not have nothing out there, because the world ain't ready for that bullshit. It's enough disease and shit going on out here, people. Just make sure y'all safe. Don't be out here, slutty McSlut. I mean, if you are going to slut it up, I mean, at least do it in a respectful way. Is there any respectful way to slut it up? I don't know. I feel like I'm advocating promiscuity and stuff like that. I don't want it to come. This is why I don't talk about shit like this, man, because I don't want people to judge me and be like, oh my God, he used to probably be a whore himself. And the truth is, people, yes, it happened before. This is probably why I'm so seasoned with talking about shit like this, because everybody's had a phase like that. But, luckily, I found Jesus Christ and became a Jehovah's Witness, and life has been very different. I have not been watching sex scenes in movies since then, and I could not be lying to you guys any heavier than I'm lying right now. People, let me stop bullshit, man. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this, man. Hopefully it was pretty informative. I know it was pretty spoiler filled for a lot of people who haven't seen these sex scenes and haven't seen these movies in general, but hopefully it was entertaining nonetheless, people, because I really, that is something that bothers me, when people don't even get a chance to finish getting their rocks off. Whether it's the man, whether it's the woman. Of course, the woman has to get hers first. We already know. Ladies, I got y'all back. I know. We know. We know. We know. And the fellas out there that think that the women do not have to get theirs first, stop being fucking selfish, man. This is one of the reasons why they talk bad about us to begin with. They have to get theirs first. But I understand where some guys get frustrated because if a woman gets hers first, sometimes they don't give a fuck if we get ours. So I got y'all back too, fellas. But I'm just saying, she must get hers first. Now, if you get anything out of this episode, ladies and gents, then let's leave with this. Let's make sure everybody gets theirs. Because you never know if there's going to be a serial killer that's going to stab your partner in the back with a pitchfork. You never know if there's going to be a serial killer that's going to stab your partner in the back with a tent pole and split her ass in half. You never know if somebody's going to get their heads cut off, while they're getting head, while they're giving head. You never know, people. So I would say, in order to avoid, going out in such a bad way while you're getting some, just make sure y'all get y'all's. Just make sure y'all get y'all's in peace and harmony. But people, y'all already know where to go, man. And if y'all don't, y'all can follow the podcast on Anchor, Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Overcast, Pocket Cast, Breaker, Radio Public, Podbean, and Podcast Addict. Shout out to Anchor. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, Romero Tutor. Shout out to the Facebook movie group, The Cinemaniacs. And shout out to the Facebook movie group, The Horror Virus. And last but certainly not least, shout out to the Tutor reviewers, the listeners, the lovers, the supporters out there. I am going to have this episode out to y'all by this evening. Or I'm saying this evening like it's fucking 6 p.m. or something. It's literally like 9:08. But yeah, definitely we'll have this episode out tonight to cap off Valentine's Day. But I really now I really do want to do commentary for Cherry Falls. I was supposed to do commentary for the Fresh Prince episode 1, but my website's acting funny, and I'm not going on, what is that, on Hulu or whatever the hell it is. I don't even know if I have that shit, or what is it Amazon or is it Hulu? I really couldn't give a shit, man. Like I'm not looking forward to it. Everybody's like, yeah, I heard it's actually pretty decent. Well, you can hear it's decent all you want to. I'm not looking forward to it. I'll watch it. I'll give you guys episode 1's commentary, and that will determine whether I move forward or not. But I just don't see it working out. But I am so tempted, because I know I said I was tired as hell, but I'm so tempted to do commentary tonight and then probably upload it tomorrow. I don't know. We'll see what happens, people. You'll see. You'll see when it pops up. I know I need to start. I feel like next month is when I'll start making the announcements. Like, okay, guys, this day or this week I'm going to do this, or this week I'm going to do that. Because I know I pop up a lot with a lot of random episodes. And I know a lot of people don't mind, but to get myself on a set schedule, I feel like I have to start scheduling these episodes a lot better. I have to start promoting these episodes a lot better prior to recording them, just to, maybe get people a little excited as far as the topic goes. I think the only ones I really promote are when I have somebody on the show with me, which is not often, but it's always a good time. And this year I definitely want to have more people on there, on the show with me. I will not say who in particular, but yeah, some surprises coming, people, like I always promise y'all. But yes, people, y'all know the love and support that y'all show me, I show it back to y'all tenfold and then some. So with that being said, people, yours truly, Romero Tutor. Another episode of Tutor Reviews in the can. I'll check y'all on the next one.